So what I thought I'd do is I'll give you guys a bit of an overview as to why we're going to these lengths around searching for the next person that we put into our team. As you all know, being a business software consultant is a challenging job and it requires a special set of skills. And what we want to do through this process is really communicate to our prospective candidates that this is what we're looking for. And this is our way of being a little bit more innovative and trying to get the message out to the right person. Yes, because it is very hard to step into the role and know it all from that day. It's certainly a journey, you know, and that's what, you know, when we've employed previously, that's what we've, you know, really focused on, is that this is a journey. Sarah, you've sort of found a niche. Can you tell us a little bit about how that fits into where your skill sets are and how that's been of benefit, I suppose?
I've sort of come from a finance background where I've worked in lots of different industries, different countries, different sizes of companies. So I think my niche is that when I sometimes go on site, I can sort of, you know, work with the client, but they know I've been there. They know I've been on the other side of the fence. I've been the customer on implementation, so I know what it's like to have, you know, trying to do your business as well during the day and putting in a new system. It's a big challenge.
I think that's, from my perspective, that's one of the exciting things about it. And Sarah, you'll know this coming from your background, is that, you know, there's people out there that come from either an accountancy background or a business management background that are in roles where they're feeling quite confined. This is the kind of role that you've got a lot of autonomy, and the skills that you acquire from that kind of background are absolutely transferable into a consultancy role. You know, and that's what we want. We want people who have got experience and are comfortable in their understanding of business processes and you know, interacting with clients. You know, like, you can't come into this role if you don't understand what business process is about, because that's basically what you're doing. You're looking at people's systems, you're looking at their processes, you're evaluating, you're constantly looking for improvement or efficiencies. And that's the main fundamental of the job. In relation to sort of what I suppose the technical knowledge is that you have to have for the job, can we talk about that a little bit?
I think from a technical perspective, it's more as long as you can have a perseverance and an analytical mind. I think if you've got that and the willing to learn, I think that's what you kind of need. Like, so from our perspective, technically, we need to be able to troubleshoot what's going wrong in a system, if there is something going wrong or what needs to change. So you need to analyse, you know, where is it that the client wants to be and where they're at now. So what's the gaps, where's the differences, and how do we bridge those differences?
So that problem solving and critical thinking and innovative sort of processes and logical thinking, yeah, is really important, because that is the point of difference between, you know, somebody technically applying for the job and who's got all that. You know, a lot of developers in the past, when we haven't gone through this process, have applied for the job because they think it's a developer's job, but it's not a developer's job.
There's also an important part in being able to translate that technical side of it so that it can be easy to understand and make sense to the client as well, because we can all discuss the solution and know what we're talking about, but then we have to deliver it in a way that's understandable as well. So that's an important skill, to take the technical and make it so you can understand it.
Yeah, the language that we use is really, really important, because if we go there and talk on technical terms, and this relates to the wider company as well, because we do support IT across the board, not just in ERP. It's really important that we talk in the language that they understand. You know, that's part of what we do. We make the complex simple.
And that's where our value comes in, right? Because where else can they get that advisory information from? They can't go to the accountant on how to improve their systems and processes. That comes from us.
Yeah, I think it's also a role where you've got to expect change, because there's so much development, either from a product perspective or from our customers growing, or even from a focus perspective. I think that's a big bow to us as well, is that we always like to, readdress where we're at and what we're doing, and can we do this better? So it's always a, what can we do better, and reevaluate. So I think that's important, that the person realizes that it's not stagnant. You're not doing the same thing every day in the same particular way. We're always looking at ways to improve things, or even the products that we sell and work with change, on a reasonable, quick way.
Well, what works for one client one day doesn't work for another next, right?
Absolutely.
Which is always a hard one to handle, frustration-wise.
So it can be quite challenging, right? Because you've got to meet these expectations of what the client wants to achieve, and how can we achieve it with the products that we've got. We've got to be a bit innovative and creative to sometimes to come up with ways that we actually achieve that. But I think it's also good because, once again, we can talk about that as a team and brainstorm ideas and come up with ideas. There's not one person to lead it all, if you know what I mean. We all sort of share ideas and we come up with them and work towards it. I think that's a great thing. What about that most people, we could say, in the company join for the long term? So we don't have many people that come for a couple of years and then move on, that we tend to have a lot of people that stay for a long, long time.
That's because the learning curve is so big. You never want to, once you get, you never get there, right? I mean, you start and then you never leave, because you've got all that hard learning behind you. You don't want to give it away. Just keep plodding.
Yeah.
Keep going. That's my theory.
And I think that that's one of the things that motivates me. Is like I love challenge and I love change. And so I've been here 12 years now. Never thought I'd get past 4. But yeah, that I'm often saying to people, there's 12 balls up in the air and we've got them all juggling at the same time. They normally land in 1 or 2s, which is fine. But that's the exciting part of it, is that there's lots of growth, there's lots of stimulation, there's lots of things that happen, and that's why we're in the IT industry, really. It's like, if it's standing still, then the world's ground to a halt, isn't it?
That's stagnant.
Yeah, yeah. I love it that we get to help people grow. That's the thing, is that you can drive around town or drive around the island and you can say, we know them, we deal with them, we deal with them, and it's like, and that's the same about working inside the business as well. It's, from a manager's point of view, is that you see people grow. They come in with really good skills, but then they absolutely go beyond what they can be. Ideally, a person would come in as a new entrant to the organisation, and within 24 months they should be at a stage where they are engaging with the client, they are billing well, they are adding value to the client's business, they have forward planning in relation to where the journey that they're going to take the client on. So that doesn't mean to say that at that time it stops, the development stops, it continues all the way through, as you guys know. Yeah, and so that, as you know, you're still growing. Yeah, and our expectations of you change as you grow. And I think that's a really, really positive, exciting thing about working for Focus.